Why does the world respect a strong man? What is quiet power?
Look, my grandfather was kind of a treasure that you didn't appreciate till he was gone. Okay? So he died when I was 15. And I used to go and see him. And then he was a sea captain, so he had this exotic aura to him, and his house smelt of sandalwood. So I guess they had some sandalwood chests because he'd traveled. And it's a very distinctive smell. And for me, being born on the coast, you know, you smell the salt and the sea, but this was exotic, like some magical place, like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, or Aladdin, or, you know, Arabian Nights, or Marco Polo, all of these exotic concepts when you're a child, you know. So I respected him, right? Because he was a person who overcame adversity. He had a fortune at one point that he lost and had to rebuild his life, you know. So he was a person who overcame adversity, look, right? And then he said to me, which I think I've alluded to, the world always respects a strong man. And I looked at him, and he was bigger than me for sure, but he wasn't a muscular sort of strong man. It took me a long time to understand what he meant. And he meant, of course, that the human mind has to develop. And if it develops, you're a strong man. Like, look, it's a classic story. I've met some very rich and powerful people in my life, as we all have. And they don't tell you, hey, look at me, I'm rich and powerful. They don't have to tell you, because you know it. And the buffoons that do tell you, and you know who I'm referring to, if they must tell you, I'm good with women, I'm rich, etc., probably you're not. None of those things are true, if I have to tell you, right? So that was my grandfather. He had this quiet power, and I always was attracted to this. And I realized that you have to earn that through years, through a lifetime of effort. You have to be conscious that it's there, but you have to search for it, don't you? And my grandfather also never retired, never, until he was dead, never retired. After he fell into semi-retirement, he was, once a week he used to, or rather once a month, he used to go on a cruise ship. He would pilot the cruise ship from Vancouver to Alaska, I believe. And then later, he was a handyman in an apartment building, right? I don't think there was anything to do, actually, but by this time he was getting quite aged, right? So they would come and change a tap. He was very good with his hands. Engineering, I think he was an engineer by training, right? And then I guess in those days you got your various tickets and various papers through experience or what have tests, right? So he had this kind of aura to him that was very interesting, yeah? Of power, of course.
Why does all power lie within? Why should our grandparents be role models? Why do we need to be brave in life?
Well, I think, what I want to say, Luke, is that, once again, all power lies within, right? And our grandparents should represent the very best of what can be achieved in human consciousness in their 70, 80, 90, even 100 years of life. They should be role models for us. They shouldn't get old and fat and weak. Really. Then yes, we live mortal lives, but I think many times, my grandfather got esophageal cancer, but he died very quickly, right? So he didn't suffer this long, tragic death, but I guess we can. But regardless, Luke, whatever circumstance happens, I think we have to go into life, or go into death rather, bravely, right? Do not go gentle into the good night, rage against the dying of the light. I mean, isn't that the famous quote, right? To paraphrase for sure. Let's get on with it. Be brave, Luke. That's what I want to say. Live life bravely. And the ultimate question is, why not? Right? Why not represent something to younger people? Right? Why not? Makes me angry when people are dissolute and all of that. Right? Why?
Why must we work? How did grandfather overcome adversity?
Because you have an obligation given life, Luke. I mean, people forget this. I mean, you didn't You're just lucky, Luke. I mean, you're lucky to be you, right? But that's all it is just raw talent. There's nothing else here. Yes, you get a modicum of a body and you get a little intelligence, but the rest is just work. Get to work. I think my grandfather, to me at least, represented that culmination, that work, right? He worked in his life till the very end. And he expanded and he grew. And he was a gentleman, which I always respected. I've written this, he always dressed formally for dinner. And maybe that was kind of rubbed off on me a little bit, right? Always formally. And he drank water. I remember this, he drank gallons of water. He wasn't a big wine drinker. I mean, when I met him, I'm sure before, he drank a lot of wine, right? And he smoked, but when I knew him, he didn't drink at all or smoke, right? Yeah, he was a human being that overcame adversity, like I said earlier. Yeah.
What does "let's grow up, we have work to do" mean?
Well, first and foremost, like I said before, money is good, Luke. I mean, we're naive to say we don't need money. I need money, we all need money, period, right? But I think the point is that if money defines your life, you're going to live a very shallow life. Because in the end, they don't write on your tombstone, "Here lies a really rich man." Right? They write, "He was a loving man, he was a caring man, he was a thoughtful man," right? When I first left university, I worked for a very, very, very wealthy man. He owned 10 hotels. And his wife had died, and he had no children, and his niece, in other words, his wife's sister's daughter, had become very close to him. And she had a husband who had never worked a day in his life. And this man was fabulously wealthy. And in the end, these people are going to inherit all of his money, right? Basically. And the man who took over the hotels, who inherited the hotels, like I said, had never worked a day in his life, I am sure. So the point is that here you are, you've worked your whole life having to build up this wealth, and you're going to give it to someone who's never worked. Bizarre. So if you define your life as, "I've worked hard in my life to build up 10 or 20, whatever you own a lot of hotels," right? You know, tragic. Is that your mission? You know, is that your mission? I think it's unfortunate. So, look, if I could just close with this thought. I believe that if I'm willing to work on me, I can achieve great things to me. And I can give ultimately, what's my job? My job as a human being, I believe, is to take in. I realize who I am, my talents. Take them in and give them back to people. I mean, that's why we're here. Loving, caring, sharing, that's my job as a human being. It's not to acquire things. I mean, things are good. Let's not kid ourselves. They're good. But that's not why I'm here. If my things define me, Luke, pretty sad. Take those things away from that. I was asked, if I stripped all that man's wealth away, what is there really as a human being? Many times, nothing. Wow, pretty scary. So let's grow up, get on with it. We've got work to do, right?